Well, first off, I guess Bob wants me to do my disease recovery act. So with that, I usually start with I'm an addict named Justin.
Justin.
You know, and my disease is like a lot of people's disease. Mine is centered around inappropriate behavior and bad decisions. That could pretty much be the story of my life, is inappropriate behavior and bad decisions. But I'll get into that in a minute. I want to, get into a little bit of real stuff that's going on in my life, and anybody that's seen my comedy before knows that what I tell you and what I speak about is true. It's all comes from true stories, and I'm going through a divorce right now. I'm in the middle of a divorce. I've been with my wife, my ex-wife, and I have to get that. That's a whole other weird thing, calling her my ex-wife now. And my daughter's here, so it's going to make it a little more uncomfortable, but that's fine. She's used to shit weird with me. But my ex-wife and I are going through this divorce, and we had to go to the attorney, and the attorney's like, you have real property. We have to talk about the settlement and the house and the cars and all of this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. She can have that. What I'd like to discuss is the boob job I bought not even 2 years ago. That's what we need to discuss here. I don't give a fuck about the house, the car, nothing. Thank you, Bob. I think, I really honestly feel like the tits are still in warranty. I paid for the motherfuckers, cash money, and I think I should give visitation of the tits. Once a week, let me come over and just suck on the nipple or something, and then I'll leave. If not, I want halves. You give me one tit, you keep one, and let's see if the next motherfucker likes the one-titty chick. I bet you he don't. It's just weird. I like freaky porn, and one-titty chicks.
Gustavo.
There's nothing real hot about that. I can't jerk off to it, though. I'm not proud of it.
Gustavo.
I do.
Move.
I'm adjusting
Thank you.
to what it's like to be, single and pseudo-single, and and it's real difficult. And I went out to Portland, Oregon, and I did some shows in Portland, Oregon when I was there, and I did a show. I featured for Margaret Cho. I did a guest spot at a comedy club there, and Margaret Cho, some of you may know her and don't know her. She's an Asian female comedian, and I told her after, I said, I don't fucking like you. And she was like, is it because I'm a female comedian? And I said, no, it's you're fucking Asian. You can't fucking drive. And, so I'm out there in Portland, Oregon, and I'm on my own, and it's the first time that I'm away as a pseudo-single guy that doesn't know what to do with himself. And so I went to an NA meeting, and I was leaving the NA meeting, and Portland's a wonderful place. If you ever get the chance to go, there's 300 NA meetings a week in Portland. If you can't stay clean in Portland, you just don't want to fucking stay clean. So I was leaving this club down in Portland as a NA club, and I'm leaving, and I'm going down this main road, and I kept passing these strip joints all along the way. And, I used to be big into strip clubs when I was using it. Could be part of the reason that I'm getting a divorce. And, the old joke is, the stripper glitter, you just can't get it off. I don't give a fuck how many showers you take, nothing. Your wife knows where you've been, motherfucker. So I decided, I was going down the road, and I passed one strip joint, and I passed another strip joint, and my disease, because I was, I was in a bad spot, and I'm away, and my disease, I had convinced that we weren't going to use. And then it was like, we need to go in the strip joint, Kincaid, because as Bob knows, he's seen my acts. My disease talks to me. I don't know about your fucking disease. Mine talks to me. We have whole conversations. It talks to me. I answer it back. And it was like, Kincaid, we need to pull in the strip joint. And I was like, we don't need to go in a motherfucking strip joint in Portland, Oregon. We are a long way from home, Jack. You remember last time we went in a strip joint? He said, that wasn't a strip joint. That was a donkey show, whereas Mexico, this is different. This is a strip joint. We're going to go in and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be different, Justin. Because in my head, my disease always tells me some shit's going to be different than it was. And we have a group conscience in the vehicle, and we decided we're going to go pull into this motherfucker. Well, the next one that I see was called The Pitiful Princess. Swear to God, if I'm lying, I'm fucking dying. The Pitiful Princess. My disease was like, that's our spot. And I was like, I think you're right. That is our spot. So I wheeled on in the fucking Pitiful Princess. And in my mind, my disease is like, it's a play on words, Kincaid. Cinderella is in this motherfucker. We just gotta go in and get her. So I was like, all right. So I go into Pitiful Princess, and I walk into Pitiful Princess, and the bouncer just gives me a look like, what are you fucking doing here? So I go into Pitiful Princess, and I'm watching these fucking women, and I go and I sit up at the front stage, and I got my dollar bills like any grubby pervert does. We've all been there and done it. You got your fucking sweaty fucking palm and your dollar bills, and you sit down, man, and the room has really, really changed me, man, because this girl come out and she started dancing, and she's fully nude in front of me, and I just looked at her, and the only thing I could think is, where is your father? You know, does he know you're here? I mean, do you have a drug problem? I can help you. This bouncer's looking at me, he's like, you are freaking people the fuck out, man. And I was like, look, I know the rules. You throw me out when I touch them. I'm not touching them. I'm just trying to talk to her. You know what I mean? She's freaked out too, because she's obviously on meth, because they really like meth out there in the Pacific Northwest, come to find out. So this fucking chick's dancing, and so I'm still, you know, creepy pervert guy, let's just be honest, because I'm not leaving at this point, because I still have a wad full of $1 bills, and anywhere you go, if you pull out a wad full of $1 bills, people know that you have been at a strip joint, so I had to get rid of the wad of $1 bills before I left there. Plus, I like titties and vagina. So, this chick comes down and she starts, you know, and I mean, she's right there in front of me and she's putting that shit in my face. And I was like, I said, this bitch smells like waffles and feet. I don't never remember a stripper smelling like waffles and feet, man. I texted my network, and I don't know, some of them might be here right now. I'm in the strip joint, and I texted my network. I was like, look, I've been out of the game for a minute or two, but is bitches supposed to smell like waffles and feet? Some of them were like, you need to leave. And call us when you get out of there. So I did. At that point, I was like, look, rules have fucking changed. They want to throw me out of here because I'm counseling strippers and shit. I'm making people uncomfortable, and this bitch smells like waffles and feet. And so it was fucking insane, man. So I get out in the fucking vehicle, and I'm driving down the road, and I called my network, and I don't know if it might have been Lee or somebody in my network, but I called, and they were like, Justin, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm leaving. I'm out of the Pitiful Princess. I'm not the fucking Pitiful Princess no more. Cinderella wasn't in there. There was a bitch that smelled like waffles and feet, and I'm fucking leaving. She's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go get something to eat. I'm fucking hungry. This bitch smelled like waffles. And I did. I went and got something to eat, man. I was like, this fucking trifling whore smells like waffles. I mean, it's horrible, and I felt bad for a minute, and then I went to my hotel and jerked off to geriatric porn because I've got to the end of the porn internet, and there's nothing left but like cripples. And that's what I do on a hotel, you know, hotel on the road, and got like Wi-Fi and shit, and I figure like that extended stay America in Portland, Oregon is on all kind of watch lists now for the shit that I was viewing in the hotel. Yeah, I don't give a shit, fuck it, you know, I'm clean, I can do whatever the hell I want. But, no, you know, you know, a lot of people's stories, you know, are filled with horrible stuff, and there wasn't a lot pretty towards the end of my using either, I'm not gonna lie, but I love hearing people come in the rooms and they say, using was fucking horrible from day one I started. Bitch, I don't know about you. Me and drugs had fun. For a long time, we went places and we danced with strange women and we jerked off where we shouldn't jerk off. And we had a fucking blast. Yeah, because I got a problem jerking off. Sometimes in places I shouldn't jerk off. Don't judge me, motherfucker. You know, I don't do it in public a lot. But, you know, my disease, you know, and like I say, my disease, you know, it talks to me, I talk to it. We have whole fucking conversations with each other. And when I was young, I started hanging out in this bar in Georgetown, and it was right beside Crazy Horse. And back then they had $6 all you could drink on Tuesdays, and I started drinking there when I was 16. No lie, true story. Because that's what all 16-year-olds were doing on a fucking Tuesday night, was drinking all you can fucking drink. But I used to hang out at this at this bar every Tuesday night, and the Marines from Quantico used to come too, because like us, they liked a bargain as well, you know. So we had all these Marines and me and my buddies in this fucking bar, and I remember walking through the bar one night, and I had this drink in my hand, and this Marine was walking by, and he bumped me, and my fucking drink went everywhere. Now, it was $6 all you can drink. All I had to do was go get another motherfucking drink. You know, it didn't cost me nothing. But my disease was like, Kincaid, are you gonna let him do us like that? Fuck no, I ain't gonna let him do us like that. So I walked over to him as nice as I could, and I was like, you owe me a drink, faggot. And at that point, you know, I didn't know a whole lot about the Marine Corps, but like, I didn't know that they had so much pride, you know. And at that point, my disease said, he's gonna hit you, but we can take him. And I said, I think you're right. So I drew back and I drilled this fucking jar head, and out he went. I mean, just like a fucking, like, there he was on the ground. My disease said, see, Kincaid, I told you we could take him. And I said, yeah, you're right. Well, right at that point, I never realized, and my disease didn't tell me, that the Marines are like the first ever government-sanctioned gang. It's like acceptable for them to stick up for each other. And at that point, somebody yelled Semper Fi. And 5 more of these motherfuckers stood up from the other side of the room. I was like, well, we're in trouble now, ain't we? Disease said, no, we ain't. He said, we can take these motherfuckers too. And we were wrong. Because those Marines about like to fucking kill me that night. I mean, they were just beating me and kicking me. And I remember I had this moment of clarity as I was on the ground, you know, just fighting for my life, that my disease was nowhere to be found. It was not coaching. It wasn't there. It wasn't telling me anything like, watch out, here comes a foot, duck. None of that shit. I mean, the best advice they could have given me was just get up and run, motherfucker. Just run, you know? But I did horrible, inappropriate shit, man. I remember sitting at a bar one time, and my whole existence in life has been to have fun. That's all I want to do, is I want to have fun, and I want to make you laugh, and I want to do all of this. But if I can't make you laugh and there's nothing for me to do, I'm going to entertain myself. That's what I do. And I was sitting at this bar one time, and my disease was like, this fucking sucks. And I was like, you're right, this does fucking suck. I said, we need to have fun. I said, you goddamn right we need to have fun. He said, you see that girl over there at the bar? I said, yeah, I see her, the one with the big old guy. He said, yeah, that's the one. So why don't you go on over there and you spit some of them, you know, pickup lines you have to her and see if you can take her from big old boy. So I think we will. So I walk over to this girl, and just as smooth as I can be, I said, sweetheart, I said, you have got the nicest set of titties I have ever seen on a fat bitch. Well, my disease is an asshole. I don't know what to tell you. He sometimes horribly inappropriate shit that he shouldn't say. And at that point, my disease said, he's gonna hit you. It's an ongoing theme in my recovery, is somebody is gonna hit me before the night's over. And my disease was right. He hit me, you know. But you know, for me, it's been a series of events like that, and you know, Bob loves to hear the story of, and I told it to Christina one night here in the kitchen, and you know, people don't believe it. You know, I was thrown out of a bar in Juarez, Mexico. It's the fucking truth. I have been thrown out of a bar in a third world fucking country. You know how fucking hard that is? It's not really as hard as you think, and I'll tell you how to do it if you really want to go to Juarez, Mexico, and test the theory. I had a buddy who got in some legal trouble in Texas. His dad said, I want you to go down, I want you to get Mike. I'll fly you down, you guys need to drive back in the Jeep. So we get down there, I fly down there, and I get up with Mike, and Mike's like, well, before we go, we got to go to Juarez, Mexico. And I said, fucking wonderful, let's go. So we cross into Juarez, Mexico, and Juarez, Mexico is another world, literally. And we were probably 19-year-old kids, and we're walking through Juarez, Mexico, and people were literally for like $3 giving me handfuls of some sort of low-grade Mexican pharmaceuticals, and I was just fucking whatever you got. I'm an addict. I'll shove it in my mouth. That's horrible. I shouldn't have said that. Shove it in my mouth. I'm fucking gay now. Sorry if you're gay. No, I'm not. So we see this thing, and my buddy's like, we gotta go in this bar. We gotta go in this bar. And I was like, all right, man, let's go in this fucking bar. So I go in this bar, and they're fucking, tequila is just like for 3 pennies you can drink, whatever you want. And I'm fucking just pounding tequila, and I'm taking more pills, and I don't know what I'm taking. And at one point, the guy's like, these are roofies, and I was like, I don't give a fuck, and I'm roofieing myself. It's fucking horrible. I don't give a fuck. Just give it to me. He's like, no, it's for Mamacitas. I'm like, fuck you. Don't tell me how to do drugs. So I'm fucking taking these pills, and I'm in this bar, and the bar was weird because there was a bar, and then I remember I turned around and I looked, and there's like this whole dirt section in the bar. And I remember thinking, I was like, that's like a health code violation. They've got dirt in the fucking bar, But it wasn't weird enough to leave, and it wasn't weird enough for me to ask any questions, So I just kept looking over at this dirt section. I looked up, and there's like this fucking hoist and shit. And I said, that's real fucking weird. Why is there dirt and a hoist in a fucking bar? And I'm still, rationalizing shit, but nothing has really set off an alarm. So at this point, this little fat Mexican man comes out, and he walks over to the dirt section. And he's talking, and fucking I'm looking at him and staring at him and shaking my head, and I don't even know Mexican, so I don't know what he's saying. But I was like, well, this is just bizarre. So then he waves this woman, and she comes out, and I was like, that's really fucking odd. I wonder what those two are doing. But once again, it didn't cross my mind. I went back to fucking drinking, and the next thing you know, I was sitting there. And the Mexican who was over there talking, he starts walking this fucking donkey through the bar. And at that point, I was like, this is fucking definitely health code violations. The fucking dirt's one thing, but you cannot have fucking livestock in a bar. I know the laws. This is fucked up. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there, and I am fucked up at this point, man. And I look at this motherfucking donkey, man, and the donkey, like, turns and looks at me. And he cuts me a look, man, and I was like, this motherfucking donkey has been here before. You know what I mean? This ain't his first time in this motherfucker. This happens often. So I look at this donkey, and he's, like, looking at me like, what's up, dog? And he's fucking walking on over there to the dirt part. I was like, this is fucking bizarre, man, but like, I really, like, as a kid, I always wanted a pony, so I was like, I was fucked up, man, and I was like, that donkey's a lot like a pony. I always wanted a fucking pony. Let's see what the donkey's gonna do. So at that point, the hoist starts coming down, and the fat Mexican's there with the donkey, and the fucking donkey's just smiling and shit. So they put this hoist down, and it's got this leather contraption with 2 holes in it, and they put the donkey's feet in the front of this. Look, if you've been there, you're a dirty bastard if you know the end of this story. So they put the donkey's feet, his back legs are on the ground, and he puts his feet in this fucking harness. And the Mexican starts cranking this donkey in the fucking air. And I looked over, and the donkey's cool with it. The donkey's still like, whatever, dog, and he's up here, and he's up in the air, and his front legs are in the air, and I was like, this is fucking bizarre. And at that point, the fat Mexican brought the fat Mexican woman back out, and she walks over in front of the donkey who's up in the air dangling like this, and she bent over. And at that point, the donkey started fucking the woman. And right then, that donkey definitely knew what he was doing. He had been here before. He was cool with everything. And this woman starts squealing, and she's squealing, and the donkey's... And I
I was fucking alarmed, man. And I remember I'm staring, I'm watching this shit, and I remember